Gulf South Conference Soccer returns to Varsity Field this Friday. Montevallo welcoming the Shorter Hawks. Glad to have you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Alex Tejada for the Falcon Athletic Network as we prepare for Montevallo versus Shorter. Back-to-back games between the women's team and the men's team following at 7:30. The 6-4-1 Falcons are playing their four games in 1 week. This is their second game of that stretch. And after a 1-0 narrow loss to West Florida, the Falcons will hope to correct things today and get back on track. They had a good weekend, picked up a crucial road draw 2-2 against Christian Brothers. They trailed in that game 2-0. They took home a 1-0 victory against Union. Taylor Gonzalez scored her first goal of the season. The visitors, Shorter, have only won one game all season and are 0-8 in the Gulf South. That one game, however, was a road victory over Bryan. They are coming off of a 3-0 loss to Valdosta State, one of the top teams in the conference. The visitors have an unchanged lineup. Durham in goal, freshman Cannon in the defense. The most experienced player, Amberly Halstead, is next to her, as is Chanel Mosley, who was second-team GSC last year. In the midfield, Roberta Marchire, who has played every game since transferring from Franklin Pierce University this season, is joined by fellow Brazilian Fiorella Gamara in the midfield, as is freshman Maria Gonzalez. Last player in the midfield is Moore in a three-forward attack. Morlock, Thomas, and the lead scorer, Taylor Hendricks. The senior scored 4 goals, has an assist, scored 3 goals last season, and had 2 assists. And for a team that has only scored 8 goals this year, which is the fewest goals in the Gulf South, they will hope to rely on their senior forward. The Falcons have only one change to the lineup. Freshman Samara Lino is drafted into the side in place of junior Hampton Brinson. In goal, Sydney Young returns from an injury which saw Judith Perez-Bayonne start the second half against West Florida. Christian Malone is one of 2 players to have played in every contest this year. She has 3 assists, which is tied for the most. Joined in the back by senior Sarah Daniels, and an experienced back line completed by Taylor Kukis, a junior. In the midfield, the aforementioned Lino is joined in the defensive midfield department by Sabrina Amador, the junior who transferred from Talladega College, who ironically the Falcons play on Tuesday in their final home game of the season. Taylor Gonzalez, we mentioned, got her first goal last year. She's tied with Malone for most assists on the year with 3. Rest of the midfield is Hannah Waukee, a freshman who's very good on the wing and also can operate as a defender. She has a goal and a pair of assists. Tyler Ring also got the season started with a 4-3 victory over Faulkner. She was instrumental in that. She has 3 goals on the season after leading the team in assists last year. And up top, Michaela Franklin, who stayed healthy and had gotten 2 goals. And Allie Darnell, the 2-time Freshman of the Week, leads the team with 5 goals and has 2 assists. And early on, the Falcons win a corner kick on the right side. Taylor Gonzalez goes across to take. Montevallo have not lost back-to-back games all season and hope that this streak continues. We mentioned they play 4 games in a week. The 1-0 loss against West Florida is followed up by today's game on Sunday, senior night. They play Lee before Tuesday's game against Talladega, and they conclude the season against Mississippi College, Delta State, and Auburn Montgomery on the road. So a lot of games before the end of the month. Top 8 teams in the conference make the postseason tournament. Right now, Montevallo sitting on that 8th spot, but wary right behind them, West Alabama, a team that came here and won 2-0. Auburn, Montgomery, UAH, Union are also still in the discussion. The Shorter team also picked up a tie against Reinert, but have yet to pick up a single conference point. Falcons, on the other hand, have a 4-4-1 record in the conference. All of their losses have been in the Gulf South. Falcons with the majority of possession, and they will hope that will be the case. Montevallo, a younger team than the Shorter Hawks. 7 players are underclassmen, with only 2 seniors in the lineup. Very experienced side. We mentioned Amber Halstead, the most experienced player. The senior from Las Vegas is a transfer from Mississippi Valley State. And they've conceded 28 goals, which is the second most against. They are anchored at the back by Chanel Mosley, the senior from Woodstock, Georgia, who was second team Gulf South last season. She scored a goal last year against Valdosta State as well and played in all 17 contests. And she's played in all but one game again this season. Montevallo building pressure, and Allie Darnell has an opportunity. Tried to square it to the edge of the box. It swept away from Lino, but picked up the pieces. Daniels plays it inside to Waukee, who drops it off to Darnell. Good idea. Plays it just kept inside by Ring, who cuts it back, and it's cleared by Mosley. Fiorella Gamara just about gets it clear before a foul is committed on Chanel Mosley, and the Hawks survived that deluge by the Falcons in the opening 5 minutes. Mosley sends the free kick into the Falcon half as they look to control it there. Morlock can't get the ball. Mosley across. Great vision of the game. Has a lot of speed. The senior alongside Amberly Halstead and Jordan Cannon will have a tough task cut out for them today against this prolific Falcon front. Between the front 5 players, the Falcons have 12 goals. Scored 18 all season. They also have goals coming off the bench. Kira Bockard has scored 3 this year, and Kristen Chance has a pair. So a team that had trouble scoring in the past couple seasons. Montevallo, much more free-flowing going forward. They only won 6 games all of last year, are 6-4-1 this year, and are looking for a first winning season since 2008. Header off of the goal kick by Durham is won by Lino. Montevallo looking more dangerous in possession. Ring on the outside. Closed down by Morlock, who's not had quite a prolific year. The junior from Blairsville, Georgia, only has 1 assist, being part of a 3-pronged attack. Corey Thomas, a senior, has 1 goal. But it's been all about Taylor Hendricks, who has 4 goals and an assist. Last year she was the leading scorer in a side that only scored 11 goals. So the goal-scoring problems have been well documented for Olivia Blomke's side. Forward for the aforementioned Hendricks. It's swept away by Kukis in time. Collected at the back by Alexa Moore, another experienced senior in the shorter lineup. Good strength by Kukis. The Hawks trying to put passes together and get their first attack of the game going. Montevallo enjoying most of the possession in the opening 10 minutes. Visitors are yet to test the resolute Falcons' defense. Malone heads it out of the box. Gonzalez picks it up but is shrugged off of it. Amberly Halstead can do nothing with it, and it goes out for the first goal kick of the game. Sydney Young went off with an injury in the dying stages of the first half last week. Judith Perez Bayonne played the second half, conceded the only goal against the Argonauts, who came away with an important victory to advance to 5-2-1 in the conference on the season. West Florida team projected to win the Gulf South has had a slow start and is 8-3-1, but are tied with the 2 teams above them, Christian State and Valdosta State. The team that Montevallo welcomes on Sunday, Lee, is 8-4. Is one of the elite sides in the Gulf South. Mississippi College and North Alabama, who got a narrow 1-0 win here, are pacing the Gulf South. Gonzalez has a heavy touch, which allows Corey Thomas in. Fiorella Gamara from Lima, Peru. One of 2 international players in the starting lineup for Shorter. And cleared out of bounds by Sydney Young, a rushed clearance. And pressure being put on by Shorter, allowing them to have the ball in Montevallo's half for a sustained period of time. Amberly Halstead. Ball's pumped in the box, and there's an opportunity for Madison Morlock. She can't get on the end of it. Tyler Ring arrives to cover. Jordan Cannon making a forward run. Tries an overlap play. It's intercepted by Michaela Franklin, and Samara Lino is there to clear the danger. And the freshman spring sophomore Tyler Ring on the side. Falcons have numbers in 3 and 4 attack. Ring's ball is cut out, however, by Maria Gonzalez. The true freshman from Lakewood Ranch High School in Bradenton, Florida, has instantly come into the lineup and enjoyed 10 starts this year. Gonzalez. Jordan Cannon. Back to the freshman. Spreads it wide, a short ball, but Alexa Moore comes to claim. Corey Thomas. And fellow senior Taylor Gonzalez, who recovers well. Options in the box. Controlled by Taylor Hendricks. She's dangerous in front of goal, but shepherded away by Christian Malone with a strong tackle. Hannah Walkie, lovely ball with the outside of her foot, finds Allie Darnell. Michaela Franklin looks to be offside, but rolls out for a throw-in. Montevallo flipped the switch into attack from defense instantly. Shorter defense made up of only 3 defenders. Will have to utilize their width and be wary of Montevallo's pacey wingers going forward. Amador and Vic Whitehouse have traded starting spots alongside Samara Lino. We'll expect to see Whitehouse at some point in the game, as well as Madison Madewell, a sophomore from Huntsville. Operated as a left back last season, has been converted into a defensive midfielder. So not just deep in attack, but Montevallo a very deep defensive midfield side as well. Defense has seen several changes, but it appears that Coach Lane and Coach Wyman have stuck with a back 3 of Kukas, Daniels, and Malone. Malone has also played center back, and Hampton Brinson's been drafted in. She's struggled with concussions this year. Out for a goal kick, Montevallo cannot capitalize on their second corner kick of the game. Be a game of few chances for the visitors. They'll have to wait and attack on the counter against the Montevallo team that will send numbers forward at home. Only 1 and 2 on the road, but 5 and 2 at Varsity Field. Play by Hannah Walkie, freshman from Long Beach, California. Has a languid stride and a lot of pace on the left side. Recovers well to keep Corey Thomas from advancing, but it's still kept alive by Fiorella Gamara. Allowed to bounce in the defense. Christian Malone watches it well and spreads it to Tyler Ring. Ring, who led the team with 4 assists last year, has 1 this year, but has chipped in with 3 goals. Mentioned had a fantastic performance alongside Kira Bockert in that 4-3 comeback victory against Faulkner, which got the Falcons their first win of the season and avenged a loss from last year. Christian Malone pumps the ball into the box. It looks like it's too close to Durham. Sydney Durham, a sophomore from McDonough, Georgia, was thrown into the firing line 7 times last year in her freshman season. Mosley smartly lets the ball run into her stride, but ball is cut out by Taylor Kukas on the left wing. Gonzalez can't combine with Sabrina Amador. After a bright start to the game, the Falcons having trouble putting passes together in the last 5 minutes. Amberly Halstead. The longer it stays scoreless, the more Shorter Hawks will grow in confidence. Maria Gonzalez. Tons of space in the midfield to spread it to senior Amberly Halstead. Halstead eventually closed down by Sabrina Amador, but there's space for Thomas. Alexa Moore. Find Taylor Hendricks, whose lovely layoff Allows Moore to send a ball in the box. It's cut out by Malone. Between Gonzalez and Kukas, they get it clear, but it's sent back in the box and almost onto the head of Morlock. A good cross by Halstead on this occasion. She keeps it alive. Heavy touch by Hendricks allows Malone to clear. Darnell, the only player forward, is watched by Martire. Even under pressure from the Italian, Darnell almost finds Hanawaki. But Chanel Mosley clears the danger. Franklin forced back to her left back Malone, who's played on the left as well as center back. Has started every game this season, one of two players to have done that. Taylor Gonzalez, the other, who has started all 11 matches for the Falcons this year. Those two players are also tied for most assists on the team with 3 apiece. And the freshman from Winnipeg, Canada, has proved a multifaceted player. Important defensively as well as offensively. Perhaps the reason why Coach Lane prefers her on the outside, so she can send balls in the box. Hanawaki has an opportunity to do just that, but it's over the head of Tyler Ring for a goal kick, and Durham's goal is yet to be tested. Both keepers have made a lot of saves this year, 45 for Durham and 47 for Sydney Young. Biggest discrepancy is the assists. Montevallo have had 15 assists. Shorter, on the other hand, had 1, with only 3 players getting assists. Halstead with 1, Hendricks with 1, and Morlock with the other. No underclassman has an assist this year, and no player has more than 1. Mosley sold short by Morlock's layoff, but she wins it back. Good pressure by Michaela Franklin. Mosley, bad back pass by Gonzalez allows Lino to intercept. Amador has no one outside of her on the left, so cuts back inside. Hanawaki, lovely foot control, decides a shot, and it's not too far wide as it was curling back inside, almost snuck inside the right post. A decent effort by the freshman. You can see the danger she possesses, shifting her feet quickly and working it onto her right foot and unleashing a strike. Had an opportunity to score in the game on Wednesday, but well saved by Barkhart. The senior keeper on several occasions denied the Falcons, who didn't have too many opportunities, but Michaela Franklin went very close, as did Allie Darnell. Montevallo perhaps unlucky to have lost in that game. Off the throw in, Waukee loses possession. Covered by Daniels, who pumps the ball forward. Mosley was the first one to read it and had to be there as Martire misjudged the bounce of the ball, and Darnell tries to go in a huge collision between Durham and Darnell. And the freshman is down, and Falcons win a free kick just outside of the box. Very risky play by the sophomore keeper. Durham clatters into Darnell, who stayed on the ground. Scary moment for Coach Lane's Falcons as Allie Darnell is being treated to by the trainer. 18th minute of play, Montevallo with the majority of possession. Shorter have put passes together and had spells of possession in Montevallo's half, but are yet to test Sydney Young's goal. Falcons' one shot came from Hanawaki, but nothing to test Durham. That ball over the top. Saw a rush of blood to the head by the sophomore keeper. And after consideration, the referee has decided that the foul from Durham was inside the box rather than right outside, so it's a penalty kick for the Falcons. Allie Darnell missed one earlier this season in the first game against Valdosta State. Sabrina Amador has the duty today, 1 goal and 1 assist. An early opportunity for the Falcons to break the deadlock at home, 18th minute. After conceding the penalty, can Durham become the hero for the Hawks, or will Sabrina Amador get her second? The spot kick goes into the bottom left corner, and the Falcons draw first blood. The junior Amador from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, has her second goal of the season, and Coach Lane Sided have the opener. You won't begrudge them a goal. They were the dominant side in the opening 15, and a dangerous ball sent over the box saw Allie Darnell win a penalty. Coach Blumke will be questioning what her goalkeeper was thinking, flying off her line like that. It was misjudged by Martire and Chanel Mosley. And a bit of confusion at the back has led to the Falcons taking the lead. A team that's only scored 8 goals all year, Shorter will have to attack now. We mentioned the longer it stays scoreless, the more the Hawks would grow in confidence. They were architects of their downfall on that occasion and have to chase the game now on the road, where Montevallo has only lost twice. Varsity Field, something of a fortress this season. Montevallo team that was 2007 conference champs in the Gulf South had a 9-year stint in the Peach Belt, trying to get a first winning season since 08, where they went 11-6-3. Long ball dealt with at the back by Daniels. Cleared by the goal scorer Amador. More assured clearance on this occasion by Roberta Martire. Spread out wide by Gonzalez. Hawks trying to gain some confidence, just putting passes together, trying to get a foothold in the game, which the Falcons have dominated. Good layoff by Hendricks. Into the path of Gamara. Gonzalez is blocked off, has had a difficult day in the engine room against Amador and Lino. Strong tackle, Allie Darnell just evades the challenge of Gonzalez. But finally defending in numbers, the Hawks get it clear. Teasing ball over the top by Gonzalez is cut out by Mosley. Waukee with time. Controlled by Darnell. It's covered by Martire. Her layoff to Amador. Sees the junior fouled by Fiorella Gamara. Is a little displeased with the call. Gamara, a senior from Lima, Peru. Has started all 11 contests. Only one of 4 players to have played in all 11 games. Christian Malone to take the free kick. Well delivered ball, but too far for any teammates, and Durham had to be alert there. She wasn't very sure catching it, but just about got it under her grasp in the end. 20 minutes played. Montevallo have gone ahead in the 18th minute through Sabrina Amador's penalty. Sydney Durham came out off her line and fouled the Falcons' leading scorer, Allie Darnell. From the spot for only the second penalty kick of the season. The first conversion from 12 yards out has put Robert Lane's side up in search of a 7th win and a 5th in the conference, which would take them to a winning record in the Gulf South. Trying to bounce back from Wednesday night's loss on the road to West Florida. Have not lost back-to-back games all year, and hoping to overturn the result. Pensacola with a win tonight. Quick offer line on this occasion is Durham, as Gonzalez was lurking dangerously. Corey Thomas making a long solo run on the right. Doesn't have much in the form of support, but spreads it out wide to Hendricks. Hendricks is trying to deliver a good ball, but well blocked by Taylor Kukis. The junior started out as a winger, but has been converted into a fullback in the past 2 seasons. Looks nervous at first at the back last year, but has really owned that position this season. And frustrating for shorter. The attack amounts to nothing. Corey Thomas's run ends up being a goal kick. So a harmless foray forward by the visitors. Kukis. Hendricks put pressure on and forced Kukis to go back. Malone played into Franklin. Franklin has runners. Amador making an advanced run forward from defensive midfield. Spreads it out wide to Ring, who does well to keep it in. Draws 2 players out, and it might fall for Darnell. Good touch inside. Darnell, a chance for a second, and it's just wide of the left post. Gonzalez was arriving and had a chance to tap it in as well. Darnell went for goal and was not too far wide. Their play has certainly deserved a second goal. Shorter Hawks caught napping again at the back. And the width on the right side. Pace of Tyler Ring giving the visitors trouble. First quarter of the game played in Montevallo with a 1-0 lead. Off of a set piece, a clattering challenge. Not punished. Roberto Martire went hard into the back of Darnell. Brazilian defender not penalized. Amador. Amador and Lino have won back possession at every occasion. Very frustrating for Gamara and Maria Gonzalez. We've had virtually no space to create anything. The Falcons have intercepted any passes they've tried forward. Not much support for Taylor Hendricks. Morlock, who hasn't seen too much of the ball, tries to get it forward for Hendricks, but a bit of miscommunication. Hendricks was coming back for the ball, and Morlock played it to where she was. Great ball from Lino. Heavy touch by Gonzalez. Allows Mosley to clear, but it falls to the freshman Waukee, whose ball over the top is too far for Michaela Franklin. Montevallo, the team with the brighter ideas going forward. Right now, they look the most likely to get the next goal. An important next goal. The Falcons dominated the first half against Spring Hill, but were pegged back 1-1, and were lucky to be ahead at 2-1 at the half. Tyler Ring scored a goal that put him up 2-1 in the second half. They coasted to a 4-1 victory. But you can't allow teams to stay in the game. Coach Lane will have learned that lesson. They'll be on the search for a second. Morlock with an extension of the arms. And the Hawks having more trouble dealing with Tyler Ring, who's a handful for defenses. Played more centrally last year, has operated as an out-and-out right wing. Malone taking her time over the free kick, has 3 assists on the year. Looking for a 4th. She's been a revelation at the back. It has allowed Coach Lane and Coach Wyman a lot of flexibility in a position where they don't have too many options. Christian Malone's ability to play any part in defense has allowed them to survive some injury scares, most notably to Hampton Brinson, who's suffered injury throughout her career. Had a problem with concussions this season. She started last game against West Florida. Can't operate as a right wing as well as a right fullback. Durham's goal kick is cut out by Lino. Waukee not on the left, and it's cut out by Alexa Moore. Heavy touch in the midfield by Amberly Halstead. As we mentioned, Amador not giving the midfielders any space. Gonzalez, very dangerous when she sizes up a player one-on-one, and Corey Thomas is smart to intercept the ball intended for Waukee to quell that danger. Brinson and Whitehouse on the touchline, awaiting an introduction. First subs of the game for the Falcons. "27 minutes played. And a shanked clearance by Jordan Cannon. The freshman had to get it clear, but the Falcons still in an attacking position. But first, the substitution. Sabrina Amador replaced by Vic Whitehouse. Samara Lino and Tyler Ring also being replaced. Madison Madewell and Hampton Brinson coming into the action. So Brinson replaces Ring in a like-for-like change. The two defensive midfielders in for two defensive midfielders, so no change in formation. Just reinforcements for the final 17 minutes. And 3 more subs are coming on for the Falcons. Kristen Chance, Jada Johnson, and Kira Bockard. 3 talented freshmen who've seen lots of playing time off the bench this year replace the leading goal scorer Allie Darnell, Michaela Franklin, and Hannah Waukee. So the majority of the lineup changed by Coach Lane. So if the Shorter Hawks thought they survived the danger, Montevallo have a whole new options on the bench, and one of them, Hampton Brinson, almost had an instant impact since being introduced. She'll be relieved to be back in full health. Last week combined well with Taylor Gonzalez when she was introduced in the second half. Both players will be recognized on senior night. Sunday's game against Lee at 1 o'clock will be broadcast here on the Falcon Athletic Network. Strong challenge by Brinson, almost wins. Morlock with a bit of space. Heavy touch by Hendricks. It's been a frustrating afternoon for the senior, but she's a very patient forward. Has played in this team for a while, so she'll know that her chances will appear. She just has to be prolific and take them. Madewell back to Kukas. Falcons' well-disciplined back line is yet to be stretched on too many occasions. Sydney Young has not had any shots on her goal. 4 by the Falcons on Durham's goal, including one from 12 yards out, conceded by Durham herself. Cannon in a tangle with Brinson escapes with the goal kick. 15 minutes till the break. The first 30 minutes been dominated by the hosts as expected. Hawks did well to soak in pressure and would still be in touch with Montevallo if not for the penalty kick. Allie Darnell was clattered into at the edge of the box by an unrushing keeper. And Durham guessed the right way, but the bottom left corner filled by the shot from Sabrina Amador, her second of the season. Corey Thomas mishits it, but it bounces off Gonzalez. Shorter hope to build on this possession. I've had a hard time keeping the ball. A lot of credit goes to the Falcons' defensive midfielders. We'll see if the same intensity can be kept up by Whitehouse and Madewell as the impressive work rate displayed by Lino and Amador. Bockard making a run. Sent forward by Kukas in the direction of Chance. Gonzalez was slow to the ball and her pass was intercepted as well by Bockard. Whitehouse has space. Spreads it to Jada Johnson, but her ball is too far for the freshman from Clarksville, Tennessee. Johnson, another player that can operate as a midfielder or a defender, is more of an attack-minded player. Thrown in over the head of Morlock. Hendricks running against Brinson. The winger from Montgomery, Alabama, which is about 45 minutes away from the campus of the University of Montevallo. Has gotten a lot stronger in her time with the Falcons, displayed on that occasion, preventing the leading goal scorer of the Hawks any inroads forward. Plays a lovely ball forward into Kira Bockard. Bockard tries to play Johnson again too far, and Martire tries to keep it out. Good pressure by Johnson to concede a throw-in. Montevallo sending numbers forward, is sensing a second goal, hoping to cement that advantage before the break. 13 to go until the half. An offside, first of the game. And either team flagged on Jada Johnson. The return pass from Kristen Chance caught her fellow freshman on the wrong side of Chanel Mosley. Intelligent play by the senior. Mosley's ball is allowed to bounce. Hendricks picks it up, but is quickly closed down by two players. Strong but fair challenge by Whitehouse. Madewell. Montevallo have three runners forward as well as Gonzalez on the outside. Well-flighted ball into the path of Johnson, who makes an unorthodox control and falls to Christian Chance, and she shoots while slipping, and it spews wide left of the goal. Half a chance, though, and the quality of ball sent forward by the midfielders has allowed Montevallo important possession in attacking positions. A few sharper passes in the final third, and Montevallo be up several goals, growing in confidence after the penalty kick goal. They've yet to be rewarded with a goal from the run of play, and while it is still 1-0, Shorter will like their odds of getting an equalizer. However, being a team on the road, they don't want to send too many players forward, and they know that in the second half, particularly the final fourth of the game, space will open up. There will be many more attacks for both sides before the end of this contest. Ball forward through the legs of Jada Johnson. A good dummy by her. Kristen Chance keeps it alive. She's forced outside by Chanel Mosley. And experience tells on this occasion. Mosley's fouled by Chance. Credit to Mosley. The back line of the Hawks could have folded after that penalty kick goal put the Falcons on top in the 18th minute. They found a second wind. And alongside Martire Cannon and Alexa Moore. Montevallo have been kept at bay. Shorter trying to get something forward. Best ball of the game from Maria Gonzalez. Spreads it wide into the stride of Alexa Moore. Amberly Halstead with room. Halstead not closed down. Hendricks trying a return ball to the midfielder. Halstead eventually receives the pass, but offside. Taylor Kukis, the player who stepped up, catch the senior on the wrong side of the back line. Long goal kick by Sydney Young. Clearance by Alexa Moore, put under pressure by senior Taylor Gonzalez. Gonzalez had the winner last week against Union in a game that looked as if it was heading for a frustrating road draw. First of the season for the senior from Overland Park, Kansas. Led the team in goals last year with 8. Gonzalez on the ball now. Kira Bockard, heavy touch. Allows Halstead to intercept. Thomas. Good interchanging of passes, but Gonzalez gives it away to her namesake in the midfield. And Taylor is fouled by Maria. And the Falcons have a free kick inside opposition half. Taylor Kukis over the ball. Coach Lane side send numbers forward. Hampton Brinson wide open on the right side. Johnson Chance loading the box. Madewell and Whitehouse on the edge of the area as well. Back 5 for the Hawks, looking to get it cleared. Headed away by Martire, kept alive by Gonzalez. And Maria Gonzalez intercepts it and is fouled by Vic Whitehouse to relieve pressure on the visitors' back line. Coach Olivia Blumke will be urging her side to get into halftime, only one down. Be seen as a small victory. It'll keep them in touch, and after a little bit of rest and 15 minutes in the company of their manager, Shorter will hope to have a good response. Chasing a goal after an 18th minute penalty kick by Sabrina Amador. Montevallo had been the stronger side, but for their 4 shots on goal, yet to score from open play. Heavy touch by Kira Bachard, who's yet to establish herself in the game. Alexa Moore's throw is intercepted by Kukis. The Falcons' backline have frustrated a lot of opposing teams on throw-ins, getting the ball forward. Kukis, Daniels, and Malone have formed a unique partnership at the back. Kukis not originally a defender, being played as a makeshift defender. Christian Malone in her first year with the team, and Sarah Daniels her second year with the Falcons after coming from Pearl River Community College. They haven't played together too long, but they've formed an interesting chemistry. And a pullback by Vic Whitehouse in the midfield off the balls. A foul on Hendricks by Daniels wins a free kick in dangerous position for the Hawks. They knew that their opportunities will come far and few between. So a chance to send in a ball from a set piece seen as a good opportunity. Certainly trailing on the road. 6 minutes to go until the break. Chanel Mosley over the ball. Well flighted ball, and it's met by the head of Malone, but it's kept alive. Second chance by Brinson, but the flag is up on the far side. Edison Morlock caught on the wrong side. And again, Sydney Young is yet to be tested. So despite the encouragement produced by the defense of Shorter stepping up after going down a goal, they've yet to find their feet in the attack. That ball's too far for Morlock. Few of the attacking players have seemed on the same page.
In for the Falcons, number 2, Simone Nelson.
Simone Nelson is brought into the lineup, replacing senior Taylor Gonzalez. A switch in formation as Nelson goes forward. Jada Johnson moves to the right wing. Hampton Brinson transfers out to the left. Will provide support for Taylor Kukis in guarding Corey Thomas, who's proved the most dangerous. Whitehouse sends it forward for Nelson. Nelson already has assist, and a good ball inside by Kira Bachard, who is looking for her 4th of the year. Well saved by Durham, who atones for her previous error. Quick distribution, getting it out to Jordan Cannon. Strong tackle by Jada Johnson. We mentioned her defensive capabilities. Last touch by Morlock. Frustration starting to show on the face of the junior from Blairsville, Georgia. Hasn't had much joy on that left-hand side. A mistimed clearance off the side of the foot of Roberta Marchire. mentioned perhaps the only problem with the Falcons' attack is they normally allow the other team to set the pace and then respond from there. Falcons have to dictate play when playing against lesser opposition, and they've had trouble switching the gears. Just need crisper passes, a little bit more speed, more incisive balls going forward. Even without Taylor Gonzalez, there's several players that can produce such effects. One of them, Vic Whitehouse, working against the entire defense. Eventually fouls Roberto Marchire, but the crowd at Varsity Field applauds the effort by the sophomore from Las Vegas, Nevada. Vic Whitehouse formed a partnership with Val Visaggio last season. Despite seeing most appearances off the bench, has started 7 games and has combined well with Amador, Lino, and Madewell. No matter who her pairing is in the midfield, she shows a lot of intelligence for the game and allows the Falcons to dominate the engine room as well as provide an incisive pass forward. And Madewell just slipped in a strong challenge between her and Fiorella Gamara. Appeared the Falcons sophomore came out the worse. Montevallo recovered possession. A dangerous ball by Hampton Brinson, not intercepted by Gamara, who didn't read the play. And the vision of the Hawks hasn't been as sharp as you would expect. Haven't had an eye for goal going forward. Haven't capitalized on the slack passes by the Falcons. And impressively, the Falcons can turn it up several notches as far as the speed of moving the ball around. It already appears too fast for the Hawks, so you would imagine the Falcons can just shift it up a gear. This game could produce a couple more goals for the hosts. Kukas, Madewell. Lots of room in the midfield. Ball over the top. Nelson was expecting a ball short. Not on the same page on this occasion. 90 seconds to go until the break. Montevallo's lone goal came in the 18th minute. Despite dominating play, they do not have a goal from open play. Shove in the midfield by Madewell on Maria Gonzalez, who's had a frustrating afternoon against all 4 of the Falcons' defensive midfielders. Coach Lane has rotated his side well. Not too many subs by Coach Blumke. Poor ball from Mosley over the top. Lexa Moore chases, but it was kind of just a second effort there. She initially had given up on it. 2 late substitutes now in the final minute. Haley Johnston and Kayla Miller, 2 seniors, coming onto the game, both from Marietta, Georgia. They may not get to see action in this first half as the ball stays inbound for the 30 seconds. Seniors are still waiting on the touchline for their introduction. Fiorella Gamara on the ball, trying to muster a last bit of attack. They haven't had many ideas going forward, but perhaps a light cross in the box, and it's spilled by Sydney Young, who gets it at the second effort. Morlock was on hand. And it was a decent opportunity by Amberly Halstead to whip in a cross. But that's it for the first half, and shorter subs will not come onto the field. But fortunately for the visitors, they only go down 1 at the break. Montevallo, the dominant side. The only goal of the game came from 12 yards out. Sabrina Amador's spot kick is the difference at the break. Alex Tejada for the Falcon Athletic Network. Thank you for watching Montevallo Women's Soccer. We'll be back in the second half for this Gulf South clash. Welcome back to Varsity Field. I'm Alex Tejada for the Falcon Athletic Network as we get ready to start the second half of our first game of this doubleheader. Of course, immediately following this game, another clash between Montevallo and Shorter. This time, Bruce Dieterle's men's side taking on Gulf South opposition in the first half. In this conference clash, Montevallo up 1-0 thanks to an 18th minute goal by Sabrina Amador from 12 yards out. Penalty was conceded by the keeper, Sydney Durham. She could not save the spot kick, which went right below her glove into the bottom left corner. Allie Darnell was the player clattered into by the onrushing keeper, which caused the penalty kick. Falcons outshot the opponents in that first half, 9-3. 5-1 shots on goal, and the only shot on goal by the visitors was more of a cross by Amberly Halstead, cut out by the Falcons defense. They will hope to offer more here in the second half, getting started through Alexa Moore, sent forward by Mosley. Montevallo have sent out the same lineup that started the game, with one change. Hampton Brinson keeps her spot. Intended for Corey Thomas, who can't catch up to it. She was one of the bright spots for the visitors, but kept in check for the most part by Taylor Gonzalez, who asked for the ball off the throw-in. Lays it off to Kukis. Kukis' pass too far for Amador, intercepted by Fiorella Gamara. Not much space in the midfield to work with for the visitors. Will have to show sharper quality here in the second half, and Sydney Young lets it bounce. Morlock was on hand, and a good cross from Halstead. The Falcons away on the right side. Tons of pace by Tyler Ring, galloping forward. Darnell did well to hold it up, sent forward by Waukee, and offside called on Michaela Franklin, who tried to come back, but when the ball was played, was on the wrong side of her defender. Better defense shown by Martire, Mosley, and Cannon, who looked very disoriented in the opening 15 minutes. And a bit of confusion is what allowed the ball to bounce in the defense and forced Durham to come off of her line, which saw a collision where the referee awarded the Falcons a penalty correctly. It was a rush of blood from the head for the sophomore keeper. Played in 7 games last year in place of Alden Powell. And the keeper that had a 76% saves is now gone, and the full-time job is Sydney Durham's. Did well to keep out the Falcons on other occasions. Amador had another shot. Kira Bockert had an effort on goal. That was well stopped, probably the save of the game, denying the freshman her 4th goal of the season. Ball too far this time for Waukee. A good idea by Ring. And Ring was one of the most dangerous players in the first half. She was replaced by Jada Johnson later on. It's more of a defensive option out wide. But going forward, Tyler Ring was giving the Hawks defense problems. A handful to deal with. Heavy touch by Amador. She does well to recover, and I have to say the Falcons have just been a step quicker to every ball. Franklin shrugged off by Morlock, who shows good strength. Lots of space in the midfield for Maria Gonzalez, something that was not the case in the first half. The quality of passes hasn't been very good, and again, Chanel Mosley with a poor ball intercepted, this time by Taylor Gonzalez. Amador put under pressure by Halstead. Lino's ball cut out by Mosley. Gonzalez going in circles in the midfield, trying to find options, not having runners in front of her. It's been a static midfield for Shorter today. Coach Blumke will hope for more of a response. Thomas working on Gonzalez. A heavy touch allows Kukis to clear and wins a goal kick off of the onrushing senior. Opening 5 minutes, Montevallo in the ascendancy as they were for the majority of the first half. They had the lion's share of possession. Shorter pretty much had to operate on the counter. Taylor Hendricks, the leading goal scorer, who has 4 goals this year, only fed off scraps. Didn't have anything to work with. Hopefully we'll have more support with Thomas and Morlock on either side of her, but the wingers have had to do a lot of defending to cope with the pace of the Falcons on the width. Tyler Ring and Taylor Gonzalez providing such width. Those two players combine to good effect on this occasion. Gonzalez cuts inside, thought about a shot, but plays it to Walkie instead. Walkie decides to have a go, and a great strike. Just past the outreaching glove of Durham, but past the left post as well. And the Falcons firing a warning shot at the beginning of this second half. Freshman Hannah Walkie. Best effort since the goal was scored. She does well to flick that header on and intercept it in the midfield, but Corey Thomas collects it. Spreads it to Amberly Halstead. Passes to Morlock, who's instantly put under pressure by Ring. Frees up space on the right. Heavy touch by Cannon allows Michaela Franklin to intervene. Sends the ball forward. The only player in attendance is Allie Darnell. Roberta Martire forward to Maria Gonzalez. And the freshman has had a decent day defensively. Hasn't played any incisive passes. A lot of credit to Samara Lino, fellow freshman, who puts her under pressure again on this occasion. And a poor ball by Jordan Cannon. Ring plays ball over the top. It's cut out well by Mosley. Last year she was a second team All GSC conference player. Scored a goal against Valdosta State as well. Started every single match. A similar story again this season. Very intelligent in reading the Falcons' attack going forward, and she's cut out many balls that have looked destined for Allie Darnell or Tyler Ring in attacking positions. In a period when the Hawks looked to be rocking after the Falcons' goal, was the experience of Mosley that kind of calmed down the back line of Martire and Cannon. And the longer it stays at 1-0, the more the Hawks will hope that space will open up in the final 20 minutes. We'll see how many numbers they commit forward until that happens, though. So far, Hendricks hasn't had much in the form of support. Montevallo's passing has just been a little too brisk for the Hawks to deal with, and if they can take it up a notch, lovely step over from Taylor Gonzalez. Just a true artist with the ball. Daniels out wide to Hampton Brinson. While she's grown as a player in several different areas of the game, her strength has improved considerably from her freshman season. She operated mainly as a forward. Now can also play defense and had to play right back a lot last year and the beginning of this year before she suffered injury problems. But is back in the starting lineup and enjoying her football. Hendricks. The Falcons feel fine with the senior goal scorer receiving the ball in her own half. The farther she is from goal, the more relaxed the back line will feel. It's been well marshaled by Daniels. Malone and Kukas, the fullbacks, have provided width going forward and have shut down anything going forward. Brinson, and a half opportunity there. Taylor Hendricks sent it in on goal, scuffed it as she went down, and it was wide left of Sydney Young's goal. Half a chance, though, for the senior. And Shorter may not have too many great opportunities. So these half chances have to be seen as possibilities to get that goal back. Montevallo will hope to get that insurance goal sooner rather than later. They do not want to keep the visitors in the game. Gonzalez slips, does well to get the pass off to Walkie. Put under pressure by Moore, who forces Walkie to go back to Daniels, and they try the right side. Brinson. Daniels. Ambitious ball forward to Gonzalez. Read it well, controlled it, but was put off by Alexa Moore, who just about did enough to win possession back. Now the visitors trying to put passes together and build something of their own. Gonzalez to Jordan Cannon. Two freshmen linking up in what is a pretty experienced side. Return Taylor Hendricks and Amberly Halstead, the two stars of last year, but the team that only scored 11 goals only managed 8 through the opening 11 contest this year, averaging less than a goal a game. Montevallo, on the other hand, in their opening 11 games have 18 goals. Team that only scored 21 last year, they'll hope to score even more this season. They've gotten more wins each year under Robert Lane. If they get a win today, it will surpass last season's 6-win total. Every year the Falcons look more dangerous going forward. A victory tonight would also give the Falcons a winning record in the Gulf South, provide them with a 5th year since returning to the conference. Sydney Young plays a dangerous kick under pressure by Fiorella Gamara. Corey Thomas holding her head. There's a huge impact there as she received the ball. Right on her forehead. Mosley. Martire put under pressure by Darnell. It's been lively going forward, but hasn't had too many opportunities. Substitution being readied for the visitors. Not sure if there's an injury problem or just a change in formation. But Jordan Cannon is heading to the sideline, and Haley Johnston, a senior from Marietta, Georgia, graduated from Pope High School. The more experienced option. It's a like-for-like change at left back. Samara Lino can hit these from distance and has a go, and just tipped over by Durham, who just kept out the freshman from getting her first goal of the season. It was a lovely strike by the Brazilian, and it was dipping just at the right time. Enough on it by the sophomore keeper to push it over her own crossbar. Taylor Gonzalez corner kick from the left-hand side, the first of the second half for Montevallo. Great ball to the far post, and it had to be cut out there by the substitute. Makes an instant impact, or it would have fallen for Tyler Ring. Lino tried to pick up the pieces. Daniels tries to spread it out wide, but it's cut out by the substitute Johnston, who's had to clean up on several occasions since coming on. Michaela Franklin has speed, shows the ball to the defender, and steps past Mosley. But she has covering support in the form of Moore. Gonzalez works a quick throw into Walkie. Walkie cut it back perfectly into the path of Franklin, and it's just high at the top left corner. And Montevallo are getting the chances. 2 opportunities in quick succession. You mentioned the Falcons had the ability to turn it up a notch in the first half. They certainly free kick cut out by Samara Lino. There's a player down, Fiorella Gamara, senior from Lima, Peru. is on the turf. That trainer coming onto the field is they're looking at the neck of Gamara, who received a push from behind by Samarlino. The freshman's done well to win headers off of the goal kick of Sidney Durham. His distribution hasn't been the best today, but on this occasion, just a bit too forceful. And it'll work as a bit of a break for both sides. A frenetic opening 14 minutes. Montevallo looked likely to double the advantage. Chance by Samarlino was turned over the ball by Durham before Michaela Franklin's strike a few moments ago was just high of the upper left 90. Gamara is slowly getting onto her feet, which is an encouraging sign. And a substitution forced by the visitors. Kayla Miller, a senior from Kennesaw, Georgia, on in place of Gamara. Montevallo's 2 substitutions prepared on the far side. Darnell running against 4 defenders by herself, but lovely Meg of the defender just put it through the legs of Johnston. And freshman running laps around the senior. Darnell and Lino be the last action for the time being for the freshman from Graves County, Kentucky, who won the penalty kick, has 5 goals and 2 assists on the year. Vic Whitehouse comes into the contest, as does Madison Madewell. Hannah Waukee sent farther forward. Corey Thomas trying to make life difficult for the substitute. Great flick pass by Amador in the direction of Whitehouse. Does well to hold off Amberly Halstead, but it runs out of real estate. Shorter were under the cosh for a little bit of time there in the past 5 minutes. Survived that particular onslaught as they approach the final 4th of the game. The Hawks will have to be more adventurous going forward. Gonzalez throws it into the feet of Lino. Heavy touch by the freshman forces a clearance, but there's no one forward. Taylor Hendricks, a good 30 yards from her goal. Frustrating afternoon for the top scorer. Seen a lot of running without receiving much of the ball. However, such is the life of a striker. Brinson Back to Daniels. Montevallo looking for some creativity going forward. We've seen brighter passes here in the second half. Hope to add a second. Madewell. Michaela Franklin dropping deep to receive the ball in midfield. Does well to hold off Gonzalez. Amador. Played a ball forward, but it was between the runs of Waukee and Gonzalez. Allows Mosley to calmly return the pass to her keeper as we approach night here at Varsity Field. Temperature, which was scorching at the start of the game, unseasonably warm for mid-October, has now started to cool off. 7:30, Montevallo's men's side take on the Shorter Hawks. Mosley over this free kick. Shorter sending numbers forward, but it's over the head of Hendricks and into the gloves of Sydney Young, who hasn't been tested. And technically on the stat sheet, you'll see 2 shots on goal. But in reality, a cross from Amber Halstead and a long ball over the top on a free kick by Chanel Mosley has been the extent of the attacking by the team in blue. Spread out wide by Thomas, and now they have numbers forward. There's 3 in the box, and there's a chance here for Hendricks, and her shot is well saved by Young, who had to be down to her left. May have been going wide anyway, but Young wasn't to know that. Finally, a shot on goal that the sophomore from Wilmington, North Carolina, has to deal with. Hendricks. Awkward touch off of her head. Tries to combine with Kayla Miller, who does enough to return the ball back to Hendricks. Hendricks, far from goal, tries a shot, and it bounces several times before going wide left. Slightly better by Shorter going forward. Montevallo looked the more likely team to get the next goal. While it is still 1-0, the Hawks will feel they are in the game. Kira Bockard replaces Taylor Gonzalez on the left side of midfield. Jada Johnson also comes into the field on the right, replacing Tyler Ring. So a new look forward line for Montevallo. As we mentioned, such depth in attack. It doesn't matter who's out on the field. They have the opportunity to score going forward. So far, that final ball has not been sharp enough to unlock the defense, which looked up against the ropes in the opening 20 minutes, and we're lucky to only concede a penalty kick. Madewell put under pressure. Has to go back to her goalkeeper. 25 minutes left in the game. Montevallo will be wary of a counterattack, especially with such experienced players such as Halstead and Hendricks in the game. Alexa Moore. Mosley. A lot of passes going backwards or sideways. Nothing incisive. Extremely heavy touch in the midfield by Miller, and perhaps she's yet to get warmed up to the game and find the pace. Hannah Waukee goes past one defender. Durham was quick off of her line, or it would have been through on goal. Martire was the player, just brushed aside by Waukee. Long stride by the freshman from Long Beach, California. Coach Lane and Wyman have enjoyed successful trips out west to get players, and Waukee is just one of many that have come from the West Coast. Last season saw the arrival of Whitehouse, as well as Michaela Franklin. Taylor Garrison comes into the action to replace Franklin. Montevallo have a second sub as well, Hannah Waukee, replaced by Kristen Chance. And Whitehouse drifts farther forward as an attacking midfielder. Garrison and Amador, the defensive midfielders. And Miller was all over Garrison on the goal kick. She gets away with one there. Bockert intercepts a pass. Whitehouse has the ball for Jada Johnson, who's second favorite here, but a slip by the defender and a foul called on Jada Johnson. The freshman arguing her point that she didn't touch the substitute Johnston, and she has a case. As it stands, referee bailing out the Hawks defense. That was heart and mouth's time for the visiting back line. Mosley has done well to keep her side still in the game at 1-0. The only goal of the game came from a set piece, a penalty kick conceded by Sydney Durham, converted by Sabrina Amador. Perhaps just reward for a very industrial performance in the midfield. And a bit of cynical play on the far right side, and we'll probably have our first card of the game as the referee trots over, takes his time, calls across the offender. And Madison Morlock, or rather Roberto Martine, is the first player to go into the book. Fouled Allie Darnell, who looked very frustrated afterward. To her credit, didn't respond. That's the kind of challenges that players take offense to. Martire picks up the booking. Montevallo with numbers on the box. Garrison blocking off the keeper's view. Durham will be unsighted, and it almost falls to Bockard. Kira Bockard, a second opportunity for Whitehouse, but it's cleared away in the end by Johnston. The Hawks just about survive into the final fourth of the game. Montevallo up 1-0 through an 18th minute penalty kick by Sabrina Amador. But at this current scoreline, the slightest mistake at the back or just a good ball over the top could have the Hawks level, and they make a substitution in the midfield. Maria Gonzalez, the player being replaced. Fiorella Gamara, who went down injured earlier in the half, is back on. Bockard does well to position her body in front of Corey Thomas, who's been drawn in from the outside. So space is opening up on the left. Good interception by Alexa Moore. Would have had Madison Madewell free. As it is, Kukas, the only defender back on the left side, goes back to her center back, Daniels. They've looked relatively comfortable today. Shorter, not offering too much into attack to worry the Falcons' defense. Kira Bockard running inside, and shots blocked by Moore. Bockard didn't have the best of first halves. Has her confidence back in the second. Looks lively on the ball. Very similar to Hannah Waukee in the first half. Mosley has to intervene. Shows good anticipation with Allie Darnell lurking. Falcons' leading scorer without any gilt edge opportunities. Perhaps she'll be rewarded for her running and workload. It's been very impressive. It's been a frustrating afternoon for Taylor Hendricks on the other side, who, before picking up that booking, hadn't seen too much of the ball, and her two shots were well far out from goal. Both shots from distance going left of Sydney Young's goal without troubling her. Foul conceded by Hampton Brinson on the right side. Reprieve for Shorter. Montevallo preparing a substitute. Tyler Ring preparing to come back into the game. Be interesting to see who they take off. they remain defensive or perhaps come out of their shell in chase of a second goal. However, with the way Shorter have not had too many numbers going forward, you would imagine the Falcons don't necessarily have to look for a second goal. They can hold what they have. After the game against Spring Hill, certainly have learned the lesson about not keeping opposition into the game, even though they dominate possession. Good interchange of passes by Madewell to Johnson off of Alexa Moore. Good ball by Madewell. Low flighted cross is cut out by Roberto Martire. Amador retrieves. Cleared by Corey Thomas, who was the brightest player in the first half. In the second half, not many passes going to teammates. And the Hawks have had trouble finding feet all game. Not able to string enough passes together to create a spell of possession. And nothing dangerous on the counterattack either. Daniels sends the ball forward. Credit the defense for keeping them in the game. Martire, Cannon, Johnston since her introduction, and Chanel Mosley has been an unsung hero. Extremely dedicated to the side. The senior was second team All Gulf South last year. Perhaps has similar honors awaiting her at the end of this year. Amberly Halstead just looked the brightest player here in the second going forward. Morlock. Frustrating afternoon, almost returns the pass of Halstead in an attacking position. A run in behind Daniels, but it drifts too far, and Sydney Young is off her line. 17 minutes to go in the game. Of course, following this game, part 2 of our doubleheader of Montevallo versus Shorter. Mentioned Montevallo's last winning season in 2008. It was also the only time that they played Shorter. That was a winning side for Shorter, 9-8-2. However, they were an NAIA program at the time. Montevallo dispatched to them 6-2, a high-scoring affair. Too far for Jada Johnson on this occasion. Whitehouse gets up rather gingerly after the strong tackle. Jada Johnson has proved a willing runner throughout this season and would hope to get a goal in her debut campaign. She's looked likely going forward. She offers more of a defensive presence, though, on the outside. Taylor Garrison holds off the challenge of Kayla Miller. It's been an interesting tussle between those two since the introduction of the seniors. Gamara runs into trouble in the form of Whitehouse. Bockard shows considerable strength. Loses out on this occasion. Throw in for Shorter. Approaching the point of the game where space will start to open up as weary legs become a factor. Shorter already, as you see, sending more numbers forward. They've coped with the pressure after several attacks left them rocking in the opening 10 minutes. Perhaps unfortunate to concede the penalty kick, but Montevallo good value for their goal. Perhaps unlucky not to have added from the run of play. Taylor Garrison, ball went off of her hand but didn't know much about it. The referee allows play to continue. Alexa Moore trying to press things, asking questions of the Falcons defense, who've been relatively untroubled. Gamara. Good ball into the box. Taylor Hendricks holds off Daniels. Madewell is there to clear, but a heavy touch by Whitehouse lets Morlock have a chance. See the lack of confidence she has this season as she goes all the way back to a defender, Halstead. Johnston sends the ball into the box over all of her teammates, and the ball hung in the air a long time. Sydney Young had to think about it, but kept cool to grab it out of the air. Hot afternoon has turned into a warm night at Varsity Field on the campus of the University of Montevallo. It's weekend of soccer continues tomorrow, or rather Sunday, against Lee. Be the third of 4 games. We mentioned Montevallo traveled to Pensacola on Wednesday, where they fell 1-0 to the Argonauts. Today's their second game in 3 days. They get 1 day of break on Saturday before the visit of Lee, senior night for the men and women's team. And then Coach Laneside is back in action on Tuesday against Talladega College in their final non-conference clash of the year. Be an interesting homecoming for Sabrina Amador, the goal scorer in today's game. Played 1 season with the Tornadoes. And a foul, rather innocuous challenge, and the Falcons fans aren't too happy about it, but a free kick in a dangerous area. Fiorella Gamara. It's been a lot more attack-minded since coming on after the injury. Can a good ball in the box cause some problems for the Falcons' defense? The visitors certainly have the height advantage. Johnston, Morlock, and Miller. Decent delivery, but it's over everyone. And a mass substitution for the Falcons, who have 5 players coming on. Players coming back into the action after breaks. Gonzalez replacing Bockard. And a change to the back line. Sarah Daniels has made way. Kukis, Malone are now the center backs. Brinson and Madewell, the outside wingers. Chance for Darnell, who's just come back into the game. Garrison gets it out to Brinson. Ring didn't have her balance, but Hampton has made a good run forward and wins a throw-in. The senior from Montgomery, Alabama, is back healthy after concussion problems to start the year. Provides a threat going forward. Has also honed her trade to make her a solid defender as well. Exchanging passes with Ring. Brinson and Gonzalez were on the same page last Friday on the road in Tennessee. Gonzalez had the lone goal in the 1-0 win over Union. Bit of frustration here for the Falcons. They haven't been able to get that second goal, and you can start to see a bit of impatience going forward now. Garrison commits the foul. Mosley sends numbers forward. 6-3 shots on goal. That wouldn't tell the whole story. Montevallo with the majority of possession. But despite a 10-minute spell to open the game and a couple shots in the second half, one from Franklin, one from Samara Lino, the Hawks haven't had too much trouble despite running all around the park, chasing the Falcons, who have been several steps ahead. Moving the ball around better, but yet to unlock the back line. Credit to Chanel Mosley for that. The senior and Roberta Martire weren't on the same page when a ball over the top forced Durham off of her line, and she fouled Darnell, the forward. Amador's 18th minute penalty kick is the only difference today. These teams were supposed to meet last season on the opening day of the season, but field problems prevented the Falcons from traveling up to Rome, Georgia, as well as inclement weather. So this is the first meeting of the teams since 2008 and only the second of all time. A program that's only been a Division II side since 2012, previously of the NAIA. Had a very successful year in 2014 where they went 14-9 and made it to the Gulf South Tournament and lost to West Florida. Since then, only 8 wins in 2 years. They only have one this season as well. One draw against Reinert and a win against Bryan. Bryan is the same team they beat last season. Their last conference road win was back in 2015 against Delta State. Be a big ask for a similar fate tonight. But they would love to get a goal back, and while they only stay down one, there's still a chance. Montevallo with numbers forward as tired legs starting to show in the Hawks' back line. They could catch the hosts on the counterattack. 3-on-3 going forward, and Taylor Hendricks tries to get the better of Kukas, who does well to recover. And a challenge on the heels of Kukas by Taylor Hendricks goes unpunished because it finds the feet of Gonzalez. Her pass is blocked by Alexa Moore, who's also had a great game defensively in the second half, which has allowed them to keep the Falcons at bay. Christian Chance played a ball forward for Ring, but it's too far. Final 8 minutes of the game, 82 played. Montevallo preparing an attack-minded substitute. It appears to be Michaela Franklin returning to the action. We'll see who she comes on for, whether Samara Lino or Kristen Chance, probably the most likely options. Corner kick won by Tyler Ring, and Montevallo had their first chance from the right corner flag. Gonzalez across to take the corner. Lino and Ring on the goal line. Lino, Waukee, and Garrison making runs in the box just over the head of Waukee. Madewell's on the far left side. Sends the ball in the box. It's cut out by Johnston at the expense of a throw-in. And the two substitutes now on the touchline for the Falcons can enter the game. Taylor Garrison, one of the players being replaced. The other is Kristen Chance. Michaela Franklin returns to action, as does the goal scorer Sabrina Amador. Her 18th minute strike is the difference. Penalty kick conceded by sophomore keeper Sydney Durham for a foul on freshman Allie Darnell. Hannah Waukee drawing 3 players into a corner. Between the two of them, Gonzalez and Waukee win a throw-in. Lino uses strength to hold off defender. But Maria Gonzalez wins the ball back. It's been a difficult afternoon for her. She's been given very little space in which to operate in midfield. Lino pumps the ball forward, and a hard foul on Waukee. The referee actually thought about blowing his whistle, had it in his mouth, but decided to tell the freshman to get up. Strong tackle by Mosley. Maria Gonzalez just hasn't had enough pace on her passes. It's sold midfielders short and allowed Montevallo to intercept the ball on several occasions. Hasn't just been Gonzalez, however. The passing from many of the Hawks hasn't been top-notch. Tyler Ring going forward has looked dangerous, and perhaps with tired legs she can exploit that. She takes a shot, but didn't catch all of it. Goes wide left of Durham's goal. Five minutes remain. Goal kick by Durham. Kept in bounds by Alexa Moore. Corey Thomas asking questions going forward. Good defending by Christian Malone to sweep it away. And a substitution for each side being prepared. Jordan Cannon returns to the action, replacing Johnston. Taylor Gonzalez makes way for the Falcons. Kira Bockard on in her place. 4:48 left.